Here's Mike and Dave.
As you just heard, the Bell Lifestyle Studio with actual Bell Lifestyle people today. So therefore, as we have guests in the studio, I have. Let me just tell you, hey, nice to see Doug and Tim in the studio here this morning.
I'm stealing a roll of your toilet paper.
Not before me.
Stop, I brought that toilet paper.
Yeah, that's right. So why is Tim Allen, why is he going to his car with loads of toilet paper? What is this? This is something that I think is, and just make sure you move in there a little bit, Timmer. We want to make sure that what we're talking about here this hour. By the way, it's great to see you guys. I realize it may not be, in some circumstances, the greatest of them. It was something that, even upon the initial hearing of coronavirus, I thought it was a little funny, corona, there was all that stuff. As it builds up, it starts to feel literally like the movie Contagion. I was saying to David earlier on, in the library, I think of Columbia Pictures, where they have that back library of movies that are the most watched. Harry Potter was number 1, and Contagion was like 230th or something. It's now number 2. Number 2.
Yeah, people are watching it.
And I think that, because as I was watching it, Linda comes in and goes, do you really need a movie about that? Can't you just turn on CP24? Pretty sure we already have it now. Don't need a movie. I said, yeah, but they don't have Matt Damon. There's no Matt Damon on there.
That's true.
So
Tom Hanks.
Tom was, I mean, to me, I just take a look at it, and we need to actually understand, because there was a comment made last night on Twitter, which certainly David took offense to, and I looked at it and I thought it was a little odd. But people, once you start talking about products and health products, and they think somehow that you're trying to connect it to say that buying a product is going to keep you immune from getting the coronavirus. That is not what you're saying. That is not what Bell Lifestyle products are about. What are we saying to people when we talk about these kinds of products? What are we saying?
I think you're throwing that one over at me.
I definitely am throwing that at you. Tim Allen, by the way. Tim Allen.
Yes, welcome. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you. This is reminiscent to some degree, and then heightened, obviously, way beyond what we went through with H1N1 several years ago. And during that time, I mean, we see people flocking to address their immune system, address immunity, seek out products that can help to enhance immunity. And I think that's really what we're talking about. We're not talking about curing anything with these particular products. We're talking about enhancing immunity. And we're talking about supporting even our habits, if you will, where we start to think more about immunity and staying healthy. That's really what this is about. We actually sell several products that are segmented by category. Some that will deal with cold sores, for example, because they contain lysine. Other products that have echinacea in them that help to thwart, to some degree, the common cold. But we're not talking about curing, I guess, if you will.
And now, Doug Carey, of course, who's with us, and you were mentioning to us, it's not the first time you've mentioned it to us, but just so people understand, the actual industry you're in is called NHP, correct?
Natural health products, yeah.
Natural health products. The stringent rules that you have to abide by are very strict. So this is not like the medicine man going from carnival to carnival. This is not only has the company been 50 years old, or very close to it in terms of selling those kinds of products, 40, 50 years old.
Our company is almost that old. This particular division is 24 years old.
Okay, so 24 years old.
Yeah.
Doug, just talk about, for the people listening here this morning, what you actually have to go through even to get, for instance, this box out on the shelves, what that process is.
Yeah, so it's not something that we do on our own. We don't look at the product and go, hey, what sort of claims do you want to have? It's regulated by Health Canada, and all our labeling has to pass through Health Canada's rules and regulations. So what happens is when we find a product that we want to put out there, there's on the Health Canada website that we work with, they list all the claims that we can make for certain ingredients. Now, these claims aren't just based on, what we think they should be. They're based on evidence-based medicine, the same as you would have for pharmaceuticals. Health Canada decides, okay, this is a valid claim, and this is one that you can attach to that ingredient. And we have to use that specific claim on the box. So all the claims that we actually make on the products are Health Canada approved. And once they okay the product and approve the product, then we get what's called an NPN number, or natural product number. And you'll see that NPN number on all approved products. This is something that you'd want to look for when you buy a natural health product. And that just tells you that it has passed through the eyes of Health Canada and has been approved for sale in Canada.
So it's strict. It is something that they have to abide by, or they're not a company, or you get into some serious problems if you're not following those kinds of regulations. But as I said, from the moment, and this is obviously way before we had any of these kinds of issues in dealing with Tim and Doug and Bell Lifestyle Products, just what they had made available was really quite remarkable. It's something that Dave's a supplement guy. I never really was, not really, and found things of when it came to joints, when it came to my knee issues, like some of those things, and I found like relief, like in a very short period of time that was I thought remarkable. And I thought, okay, well, it's nice to back a product that you actually believe in and you use and it works. This is something different. I've never been an echinacea guy. I've never taken, Cold FX, the stuff that they pumped and all those kinds of, it really wasn't. But now you look at the situation, you think, and Bal was really good when he came in. Like we just thought the world of him. He said, well, if you're not getting it in your food, he goes, most of the stuff that is made available, and he teaches courses in this, by the way. He said, I get a lot of it with my diet, but if I don't, that's what we're talking about. And so when it comes to seniors who are in the vulnerable category,
they are.
What's the kinds of products that you think that we should be talking about here this morning? If you're looking at taking a product that is going to, again, there's not a cure. This doesn't mean you would never get the coronavirus, but at least help your chances of being a healthier person in not getting it. What are we talking about?
So the first thing you have to look at is, if you really want a healthy immune system, then you can stick to the basics. So eat well, get exercise, and lots of sleep, and avoid stress.
The basics.
That's
basics.
really the best way to do it.
But look how many people on the sleep side, when I talk to people, hey, how'd you sleep last night? I always sleep terrible. Not helping.
I slept 4 hours last night. I had Harvey's yesterday at some point. I'm not eating right. I'm not getting enough exercise. I'm not doing those things, and most people can't or don't.
Right.
So you need a little bit of a boost sometimes. So there's two types of immune products you can approach. Some of them, like our echinacea product, are to treat a lot of the symptoms that you have. So it's treating symptoms, not actually curing. So just to clarify, a lot of the products are for the symptoms that you have on a given disease state.
Tim, you want to jump in?
Well, yeah. I mean, you asked about, I guess, maybe the elderly or the concerns that way. And, of course, they're maybe a little more restricted to movement. They may be having some challenges with diet. Decent multivitamin is a good place to start, of course, right?
Yep.
To try to balance out some of their needs. And then during the dark days of winter, maybe some more vitamin D. We know that vitamin D is driven by sunlight. So the vitamin D is a good one. And then, of course, there are some other ingredients we can be looking at, whether that is echinacea as an example, astragalus. There's lots of different ingredients that help to drive and really get people into a healthy state. If you're in a healthy state, you have a much better chance of defending yourself than when you're run down. Right?
And that's really what we're talking about. This is almost fundamental, regardless of this current situation you're talking about.
Absolutely. I mean, I think about, thankfully, I'm an empty nester now, and we don't have the kids. But when the kids were, I got a couple of daughters, and when they were coming home from school or daycare, I mean, the parents that have to deal with daycare issues right now, it's really tricky. Yeah, absolutely. It's really tricky because the kids are basically a cesspool for picking up the bugs. But the kids, they need to build their immune system as well. Their immune system's under attack. every time they get sick, every time they address something, they start to improve their immune system. I mean, think about it. If you've got kids, you've probably seen them eating dirt. I guess we all ate dirt at one point, but it's to inoculate our system.
Tim, speak for yourself. I was from a slightly higher class of town.
There you go. That kind of dirt.
Yeah.
But, there is this move to try to drive our immune system. Almost instinctively, we know what to do, and we need to get into that healthy state. That's really what this is about, getting into a healthy state so we can defend ourselves.
Now, because you guys have been in this business and for a very long time, you've been
Very long
a very
time,
long time.
Yeah.
Were you surprised by this weird reaction by the public to either hoard or jump on to this obsession with toilet paper, which I didn't quite understand. I still don't. Have you already seen anything like this in your industry? Because it does sort of it's people's health, and I just didn't think that this was the response. Not like this.
Yeah, the toilet paper thing is interesting, but it goes back to the saying that everybody wants what everybody wants. And once they see movement in one area, they all jump onto it, right? If you think about, it's a little bit of mob mentality. I'm guessing,
yeah,
right?
It
Without
is.
being an expert in that area. But yeah, I mean, all of a sudden you see the shelves being cleaned out, and everybody's flocking to that. So it's what's going on over there, and everybody jumps into it.
I got to get one too.
And, and there is a general state of fear that sets in. It is quite fascinating to watch it. As I said, H1N1 was interesting, and then prior to that was SARS. I remember working and sending home one of our employees because she had been at risk. And the fear that starts to spread is unbelievable. I mean, it's not unlike what you see in those movies.
Well, it's exactly what you see in those movies, and that it's not a great reflection on humanity, by the way.
Yeah.
I think a little bit. So, if you do have a question, the phone lines are open. 416-640-0200. If you want to ask a question on Twitter, I can get to some of those as well.
Yeah, and I know we're going to stop down right now for a look at traffic and weather, but when we come back, I want to talk about the Supreme Immune Booster that I take right now through Bell Lifestyles. I've been taking it probably for the better part of the last 6 weeks, maybe even longer. And, what it's done for me as far as give me that boost and what it can do for you as well. Just some of the many products we'll talk about here next, Mike.
It is 8:25 as we do traffic on the fives, looking at some of the camera shots that we have in and around the GTA. It does appear to be a little lighter than normal, I would say. Tim, you flew in, did you?
I did.
Now you come from the north, right?
I'm coming from the west end.
Yeah.
From the northwest Georgetown area. It was wide open.
Wide open.
Yeah, wide open.
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys. We're looking at a couple different delays on the 403 near Southdown Road. A little bit of a buildup. We're getting a notification of a vehicle stopped on the road that's causing some of those concerns. Other than that, it's exactly what the guys were talking about. We still see cars on the road, but compared to what we would see at a normal time, considering that it is March break, a lot of people are starting to work at home and will continue to work at home. There is a little less traffic. However, it's not exactly able to get exactly where you want to go exactly on time. So do be prepared for that. Other than that, I'm not really seeing anything else on my map this morning. That is good news. Bad news is it's a little bit of a chill when you walk outside. -2. Feeling like -6, a few clouds. Winds out of the southeast at 13 kilometers an hour, gusting up to 20. We are expecting a daytime high of 4 degrees. It will be the coolest day of the week. We're expecting temperatures to jump up a little bit as the week goes on. Mainly sunny with cloudy periods in the afternoon.
Checking the Lakeshore West, there is nothing to report. Everything is on time and running smoothly. It is 8:27 on News Talk Saga 960.
Your favorite morning show has a new home. Mike Richards and David Bastel, 6 to 9 weekdays on News Talk Saga 960. Brought to you by Bell Lifestyle Products.
That note that you addressed this morning, it reminds me going back in time. I'm talking when I first started in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot more shenanigans and things going on.
Oh, sure.
But I would say for the last 15 years, it's been really tight. Like, you just can't get away with anything.
Right.
It's tightened right down.
That's the way it should be, right?
It is. And in fact, if you compare our system to the U.S. or to other systems. I mean, we rank really high, and it's one of the reasons why the Canadian products are sought out around the world, because they've gone through the testing.
Right.
So
do you get a lot of international orders? Like, do you get?
We do.
Yeah, I was
we
gonna
do.
say.
And when it came even to selling into China, Canadian products were hugely in demand. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But the system, our healthcare system, and then the system for testing and running this particular category are well known.
Yeah.
And I mean, it'll take us, what, 3 to 6 months to bring a product to market?
Or
Kind of
longer.
best case.
6 to 8 right now.
Yeah, kind of best case.
Usually around 8 months.
Yeah.
8 months.
Which is tricky, because if you get onto a trend, you can't respond to it very well. Like right now, you were looking at some stuff. Somebody says, "Oh, this is in demand," and we got a note the other day about quercetin, for example. And quercetin's a fabulous product. It's indicated for allergy symptoms, but right now they're indicating that it could be helpful against the invasion of this particular virus. So all of a sudden, if you want to jump on that, I mean, yeah, we could be, in this case, maybe we're only 6 months down the track, but that's what we're looking at. Whereas if we're in the U.S., we could have it out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Really, that's the
Yeah.
turnaround. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no problem.
Yeah.
What do you need? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
that-
Yeah.
Put it in chocolate. Don't worry about it. They'll love it.
Yeah, really, really tricky to compete there
happened.
because they move so quickly.
We got this is actually on Twitch, so they're probably, Dale, are you listening? You're probably hearing right now. This is coming from Victoria. Or is he Vancouver? Is he Vancouver?
I think
Maybe he's Vancouver, maybe.
Yeah,
Is he?
could be. I forget.
So, Dale, this is for you. I'd like to thank Bell for helping me get a better night's sleep. Bad news is I now miss 2 hours of the show.
That's good.
He says it's Delta BC. Dale, thanks so much for that. Appreciate it. And because that stuff works too.
He used to write us before we were on the air.
Yeah.
And when you do
Yeah.
the time change,
20
it's like
seconds.
5:45 in Vancouver.
Oh, that's
like Eastern
painful.
Time. It's like, what are you doing up?
Dale, which product are you using? Are you using the
Sound sleep. He's using
the
sound.
T? Is it the
he
T?
has to.
Is
He
that the
has to.
T?
There's the T, and then there's also the actual
The capsule sound.
The
Yeah,
capsules.
the sleep the T is the relax and sleep.
Correct.
News Talk Saga 960 is the new home for Raw Mike Richards. Brought to you by Bell Lifestyle Products. Also streaming live on saga960.ca. And now, from the Bell Lifestyle Studio, here's Mike and Dave.
8:30 News Talk Saga 960. Raw Mike Richards just getting a message here on Twitch this morning from Delta BC. Our good friend Dale Cadeau. I'd like to thank Bell for helping me get a better night's sleep. Bad news, I now missed 2 hours of the show. He uses the T. He also uses the multi.
Yes.
No, I think you do as well. Do you
I use the multivitamin, yeah, and I know that Bell's going to be coming out with a new multi soon, I'm guessing.
Yes. So we'll be bringing back our liquid multi, which was very popular.
Absorbs faster, too, the liquid part.
That's right.
Is that-
So the absorption will be much faster with that.
yeah.
We're in studio with both Tim and Doug from Bell Lifestyle Products, sponsoring the show and the studio, as you very well know, for those watching on Twitch around the world, really. Certainly a big number south of the border as well who watch in the States. And it's interesting that our good friend Earring, as he calls himself, he said last night in Ohio they closed the restaurants and the bars.
Wow.
I thought, oh, wait a minute. You're going to close the bars, are you? On St. Patrick's Day, it's just around the corner, just tomorrow, you know. Can't be doing them things. It's terrible. But the parade in Dublin, no. They were going to do it in Toronto.
I
It's
know.
funny. It's like, hey, Liam, do you think we can do it? We can have some people. No, you can't. You can't have some people. So that is gone. And as I said here this morning, if you do have some questions, if you would like to call, 416-640-0200 is the number. If you would, again, hear us talking about some of these. And again, the immune system, I think, is pretty much what we're talking about here this morning.
Yeah, it's interesting too. Now we're looking. Doug and I were speaking this morning. I think that the number of cases in Canada over 300 reported this morning. So we had a significant spike over the weekend. It's interesting because I had some travel planned into Paris, France for next month. And And I was holding out on that one, trying to be optimistic that we could get a hold of this. But they followed behind Italy and Spain. And I was in touch with the hotel. The hotel is actually shutting this week.
Wow.
And will be closed until April 26th. And I was scheduled to be back on the 25th. So I guess that's off the table at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that our good friend Patrina Gentili, who writes, I think is the Globe?
Multiple
but she's
publications,
everywhere.
yes.
She's a motor journalist, right?
Oh,
so
boy.
anything to do with cars, it's her thing. So she's over in Italy all the time. Like she's over Ferrari, she's over in Modena, she's over, all the cool places to go to. Obviously, all canceled. And then you start seeing that the more you talk to people, and they talk about where they cannot go. Once that sentence is said, you realize that the ripple effect of where you're not going means that people aren't open, which means the people aren't working there. And when they're not working there, then the restaurants aren't getting any money. And it just goes on and on and on. And the economic impact of this is frightening.
Yeah, we haven't felt it yet. It's coming. We think we have, we haven't. You might be seeing toilet paper off the shelves, but that's just the beginning.
I talked about Supreme Immune Booster, Doug, before the break. Can you let our audience know exactly how this works? What is it? And I guess some of the health benefits to this product.
Yeah, so a product like that, what it's designed to do is it's help support and maintain a healthy immune system. And that comes right out of the claims from Health Canada. It's a mushroom extract. What it's designed to do is really just trigger your immune system, boost it a bit. And that's all you're trying to do is get your immune system heightened.
Yeah.
So it's going to be able to fight off any infections better. So you're better prepared. The product, it's funny you mentioned you've been using it for the last few weeks. I use it as well. My son, Josh, was sick with a stomach flu or something a few weeks ago, and I was about to travel, so I was so paranoid about catching what he had. He was really sick for a while.
Yep.
And so I was taking that as a supplement to just make sure that I wasn't going to catch anything. Knock on wood, I was good. I was feeding it to my other son as well, and he never got it. So, it's like an insurance policy. There's nothing wrong with boosting your immune system to help protect you. Again, it's not a cure, but it's something that you can take along with eating well, along with taking your multivitamin, just to make sure you're at the height of good health.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the products are designed for.
And that's kind of why I've been taking it, especially during the winter months, because my youngest is 3, my oldest is 6. As you guys know, having a preschooler and a grade 1 student come into the house and live in the house, and they're magnets. They like to hug dad, which is never going to be denied. I have to be on top of what I'm feeling like too, if I'm going to be able to help them. And you're right. There's always something new that comes into the house. If it's a runny nose, if it's a cough, if it's occasional fever, and that's just day-to-day life for me. So
yeah, especially with when you're in a situation with the young kids and they're in daycare.
Yep.
I know mine used to come back all the time with everything you can imagine.
Oh yeah,
stuff I haven't even heard about before. And,
it's a whole education, isn't
I
it?
think the CDC used them as a study. But yeah, you really have to be on guard. So you want to be at your best immune.
It is 8:35 as we do Traffic on the Fives. We'll return with more discussion from Bell Lifestyle Products. If once again you have a question, we'll take it on Twitch, we'll take it on Twitter. If you want to call it 416-640-0200. Here's Dave in the traffic.
Thanks so much, Mike. We are experiencing a little bit of delays on the QEW near Southdown Road this morning. There is a vehicle stopped on the road. That's QEW Hamilton bound. So you're looking at a little bit of delay in that area. Other than that, we're looking okay. Erin Mills Parkway on the 403, that intersection has a little bit of buildup. 401 getting a notification near here, Ontario, but for the most part, pretty decent ride this morning. There are still cars on the road. It's a little bit less than what we're used to seeing at this time with March break and a lot of people working at home. But other than that, scanning the area, we look pretty good so far just after 8:37 in the morning. Currently here in the city of Mississauga, we are sitting at -2, feeling like -6. A few clouds, winds out of the southeast at 13. Mainly sunny with cloudy periods in the afternoon. Our daytime high will be 4 degrees.
checking the Lakeshore West, they have been on time here this morning. There are no problems to report. As I said, everything on time. It's 8:37 on News Talk, Saga 960.
Hang on. There'll be more gambling, booze, and meat talk, sprinkled in with sarcasm, condescension, and insults. This is Raw Mike Richards, brought to you by Bell Lifestyle Products.
Here's Leanne, I see on Twitter. She used to work at Canada AM years when we were all at TSN and Bell.
Oh, I remember her. Yeah.
She was awesome. She used to bring over baked goods and stuff. She was really quite nice. I have toilet paper if anyone needs it. I have bacon in the freezer, chicken, lots of eggs. I live in West End, Toronto. Not selling, just sharing. Hashtag coronavirus, COVID Ontario. I mean, it's nice to see humanity every once in a while, because some of that, like the extreme individuals that I put on Twitter this weekend were, I don't know if you saw some of that stuff, it's just unbelievable. The lengths they would go to. The guy in the States, the guy in Tennessee was some kind of piece of work. I've never seen anything like that. He traveled literally like 3 states, and off the shelves, whether you were a mom and pop store or one of the bigger ones, almost 20,000 goods, 20,000 pieces like of these kinds of goods.
Wow.
And then they kind of caught him. Amazon, all these other ones. They said, "You're all blocked. You're not selling anywhere." So there's a picture of him in front of his garage with all the baby wipes and Purell and all that kind of stuff. And people are like, "Good luck." Yeah. You know, it's like people selling bottles of Purell for $80.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Well, it's surreal out there. I was in a T&T in Markham to pick up some pork buns, and about a third of the people in there, it was packed. About a third were wearing masks, which was already odd thing to see. And then I went into my No Frills to do my regular grocery.
Yeah.
And the shelves were bare.
yeah, the No Frills for some reason seems to
Like
be
some
the
apocalyptic
epicenter.
film.
Yeah.
No carrots, no onions, no potatoes, no celery.
No frozen good, no pasta.
No opportunity to make soup to nurse yourself back to it.
I went, as I said, I saw the corned beef, the brisket for St. Patrick's Day. No one touched it. Oh, I said, good. I went from there to the LCBO. I go, all my stuff was fine. I got everything I need.
Yeah.
Time's a party.
They're like, how are you doing? I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
I'm doing fine.
Go ahead, wash your hands with vodka, right?
Yeah. I think that's exactly what my brother-in-law did, by the way, on the weekend. I was like, where did it all go? Was he bathing in it? Yeah, it's and I guess someone bringing up the comment, well, if you can't get to work, like, is everyone just going to get paid? Because that was a big thing in sports, right? The Calgary Flames and the Oilers and the Jets came out and they said, oh, you, the part-time people or the event people, we're not
20
paying.
seconds.
And people went nuts. So they all flip-flop. But now they're saying, well, how far does that travel for people who can't get in? Like, how far are we going to extend this thing? It's really quite frightening economically, I think.
Getting a couple questions here.
Okay.
The boys are back in town. You're listening to Raw Mike Richards, brought to you by Bell Lifestyle Products on News Talk Saga 960. And now, from the Bell Lifestyle Studio, here's Mike and Dave.
841 News Talk Saga 960. Raw Mike Richards. Bell Lifestyle Products, not only a sponsor of the studio and the show, but in studio here this morning, explaining exactly what some of those products do for you. By the way, this hour in its entirety will be put out on Twitter, because that's generally what happens. So people, that's just, it's like PVRing your favorite show. They go to it when they want to. That's kind of when you see all these, well, for us, the biggest numbers we've ever seen. So that's what will happen later on today. Don't worry, it will be out there. And I just think that the information and the verification of what really kind of matters is what we're talking about here this morning. There's no miracle cure. There's no freak Jim Baker with his silver water. Like, at least make it sound like we're not 5 years old. Ooh, is it silver water? Yes, it is. And you'll get into heaven, too, if you drink that. Whoa, into heaven, how much is that worth? How much you got? Like, I just cannot believe that this bozo, he didn't embarrass himself the first time when he was also married to the clown wife. Mm-hmm. Now, you're curing the virus with silver water? Did you see that story?
No.
So the entire the state of Missouri is suing him. A whole state is suing you.
Hard to do that.
You're terrible.
I know.
You're like the worst person ever. And then when you're reading the charges, claiming that the silver water, called silver soul water, cured not only the coronavirus, cancer as well. So it did the both. Now, Bell is not making any of those claims, just so you know, that is really not part of what they do. I'd like to see that one pass by.
Health Canada.
Is that part of product development?
Yeah. And it makes you taller. Wow, what is going on in here? And it comes from a mushroom? Wow, you people. It really is quite embarrassing at times. Dave, you got some questions here this morning?
Yeah, a couple questions. Good morning, everyone. Outside of Immune Boost, what else would you recommend for day-to-day maintenance care to prevent colds, coughs, any sort of cold season?
It comes back to the basics again.
Mm-hmm.
Get some rest, eat well,
Yep.
exercise. But if you start to show any signs or symptoms, you can use things like the echinacea product.
Yep.
That's really good for not only boosting your immune system, but also treats some of the symptoms that you have. Another one that's very popular is shark liver oil.
Okay.
For boosting your immune system. That's something that's
So that's not shark cartilage. That's shark
liver oil.
liver oil. Okay.
Oil. So a little different from the shark product that we talked about before.
Correct.
This one also will help boost your immune system. So those are the things you can use as a preventative measure.
Right.
And or to treat some of the symptoms once you have something. And you have to remember, people will get the regular cold as well and flu this season. So it's not just the current virus that you need to deal with, but you're going to get the regular cold, you're going to get the regular flu, and you're going to have to deal with that as well.
And the product to consider if you are ill and on the rebound is our Virux product. As I mentioned earlier, great for cold sores, great for kind of digging yourself out of the hole, actually.
Okay. So when you're in that hole already, would that be that one right here that I'm
That's
looking
correct.
at right
Yep.
there?
Yes. Yeah.
And so what does that do exactly, Tim? Sorry.
Well, it's got lysine in it, which is really popular for cold sores.
Yep.
And just digging yourself. I mean, a lot of people are susceptible to cold sores. Anybody that's ever had them, I mean, it's pretty nasty.
Yep.
So this is a good one for building your strength coming back.
Who are the people who find this stuff out? How do they know that there's a mushroom, there's a flower somewhere?
Yeah. Well,
it really is fascinating how they can translate that into that.
Yeah. I mean, you just got to be thankful for all the people that have come before us and experimented so much, and then the science that we've picked up on, as Doug was mentioning. We've got to go through. These are products that are evidence-based now. I've been in this industry for a long time, and years ago it wasn't like that. But I'd say, as we were saying earlier, maybe 15 years or more, it's really been driven evidence-based. If you don't have the science to back it, you're going to have a tough time bringing it to market and supporting it.
Yeah. When I worked back in the lab, we used to, my boss at the time had a huge book of Chinese medicine. And he used that as the base to come up with, some of the herbs and other components that might help in medicine. And so we took that and we tested it in the lab. So, that's just the history has really led to what ingredients you want to use. And then you use modern science to really determine whether it works or not.
And by the way, when Doug talks about being in a laboratory and actually doing stuff, it's not like on the show when you hear me talk about being a doctor. This is he legitimately was at a place where he was paid to actually do things, just so we can clarify that as well.
But it's interesting, years ago when I was at university, I thought I wanted to be in the forestry business, so I was studying forestry, and you're learning all of the botanical names, etc. And you start to realize that from the willow comes acetylsalicylic acid, and that's part of ASA, or aspirin. And so the indigenous people were using that long before Europeans showed up here. So a lot of the products that are out there we've been experimenting with for years and getting results from. So why can't we be doing it today? Just because we've jumped into an allopathic state of treating our health issues, these products from around the world and these other cultures that have thrived for centuries using their medicinal means, it's significant. Why shouldn't we introduce it into what we use here in North America?
To order online, guys, I had a quick question there. Online, where's the best place to order online if they don't go to a lot of stores? Like all good health food stores will have Bell lifestyle products. We know that. But if they're doing it online, because a lot of people are doing it these days.
So typically, just off the top of my head, I tend to lean into some of our retailers that are available online. That might be the Vitamin Shop from Victoria. That might be VitaSave in North Vancouver. That could be Vitamart out of Alberta. That could be National Nutrition here in Ontario. There's quite a wide, broad list of places. There's, of course, there's Amazon, which is represented by many resellers, and there's you can go to our website as well and find a link to purchase products.
Right.
So if you're in Canada, that's belllifestyleproducts.ca.
.ca.
And if you're in the U.S., that's .com.
Yep.
Because you would think that a lot of people, including the seniors who don't want to leave the comfort of their own home, may want to go that route.
Yes.
I think that's why we got the question too, because that's exactly it. If they're sold out on the shelf or something, or you don't want to leave your house, it's as easy as going to your laptop, your phone, whatever, your computer, and making that purchase, which is kind of what 2020 is all about when you think of what you do online these days, right?
Well, as I said, some of the questions that people have had, and even listening to this, and who will watch this, and generally listen to it later date, but a lot of people are going to watch this. It never hurts, as I said, to really kind of go back to the basics. As you'll notice when we start talking about these products, it's never the product alone. It's not a miracle cure or a supplement where you take it and now you're off the hook. It doesn't work like that. And as Doug, as you said, it gets back to and Tim, eating right, sleeping, which is so important. Just so important to recover the body and recovering. It's the one thing that after my bout with cancer, I've always, working the weird hours, I've been that way anyway. But in order for the medication to work better, in order for the therapy to work better, in order for the body to actually heal itself, sleep was at the top of my list. I did not mess around with that sleep. And if I had to sleep, no matter when it was and for how long, that's what I did. It's one of the reasons I think I came out okay and recovered. This is post-surgery. I'm not saying sleep cures thing, but you need to give your body a chance. And that's why in a very, people hardly connect the dots. Well, there's Dale texting us here today on Twitch saying, well, my sleep is better because of the tea that he has. It all kind of ties in when you think about it. That's just one of the products that's available out there.
Yep. It's interesting. Just recently, we learned about a sleep product that had come onto the market, and it had just exploded. We've been selling our Sound Sleep for years, but until I'd seen this product and some other products that had really hit, didn't realize the extent that people struggle with sleep. I think that maybe all four of us to some degree, but it's very it's a huge issue out there. It really is.
You know what? And especially considering the stress of society today, you can't go left without hearing about COVID-19. I don't know about you guys, but I don't call it a night whenever I call it a night and sleep soundly and not think about everything that's happening now and in the future. It's hard to sit there and be calm and just
there's a sense of anxiety, right?
Yes, there is.
So maybe we should talk about anxiety. What's next? Yeah. No, but there's a sense of anxiety that just drives you to have restless sleep. Yeah.
The other thing too is, you mentioned about the eating part of it, like all those things that, and walk. People are like, well, walking around. Should we be walking around? Yeah, it's
people are getting paranoid as well, right?
Yeah, and the panic is worse right now, quite frankly, than the virus is.
Yeah.
Like Dave said, you went out and you went for a walk. The kids went out there. They had the little wagon. They're pulling the wagon. That's all good stuff.
Yeah.
And we live in a courtyard where, and the kids have all moved on, so they're like our age. So all the empty nesters are sitting there. All the kids, they used to have kids, but there's a younger family that moved in there, and I heard this noise, and I recognized it, as children playing.
What's that? That
Which
foreign
you
sound.
We don't, because kids these days. So my wife's a teacher talking about. I mean, she gets pummeled with all the kids over the years that she's been teaching. It's just been brutal. Usually at the end of June, before holidays start, she's like in bed for a couple of days because she lets herself relax a little bit, and boom, here it comes. It just steamrolls her. Every year has for years. But she said, when it's really, really cold or raining or snow, the kids are all excited, the majority, because they get to stay indoors. I'm like, what it was like for us, indoors. I don't think we're supposed to be doing this. I don't like it. And it was like, I didn't, being outside is important for everybody to get out and just walk around.
It's just not recess if it's not outside, right?
Yeah, it's got to be outside.
Got to be outside.
Snowball field? Oh, yeah. There's some people on that list. He threw an ice ball. I would never do that. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys, for coming in. And once again, we will be putting this out later on today on Twitter. It will go on also on YouTube. You'll see it. But I'll put out the link so people can see it, because it is a full hour of information that hopefully puts you a little bit at ease. There is no miracle cure. This is not something that anyone would ever say that you won't get the coronavirus by doing this. And still, by the numbers, they're still very, very small. But at the very least, if you have parents, if you have certain immune situations that you can make yourself stronger, that can't be a bad thing. Even if there wasn't the coronavirus, you still want to walk down this path of being a healthier, stronger person. So, as I said, there's a bunch of ways to do it. If you're here in Mississauga, there's a bunch of Mississauga stores that you would go to.
Yeah, there's loads of them. Of course, there's Nature Source, which we've talked about previously.
Quite a bit, yep.
Village Health Food Stores, the Healthy Planet stores. We've got Nature's Emporium. We've got Big Carrot. If I start to think about around Toronto, Big Carrot, Noah's. The list goes on and on. There's lots of stores.
I find also, okay, you have a lot of stores. You have a lot of professionals in those stores that can answer questions. The website itself, bellifestyles.ca, has a lot of information on every single product.
And it looks good too.
There's sections of the website that you can go to. Like, for example, we never got to it today about gout relief. There's that. There's the maintenance part of it. There's blood pressures, cholesterols. I could go down a massive list. Whatever you're asking yourself, it's very easy to just go to the site and get some really good answers. And it's not doctor's answers either, where you may not understand exactly what's being told to you. It's actually laid out quite well. And of course, if you have any more information, you can write into the company. You can go to your stores as well. And a lot of people will have those answers for you.
Yeah, and if you want articles on health, including one that we posted on boosting your immune system, we have bell-wellness.com, which is, there's no products on that site. It's all articles. And if you want some tips on staying healthy, that's the place to check out.
So there it is. All that information. Once again, this will go out later on today, so you can have it and watch it when you want to watch and or listen to it. Of course, it's also available on iTunes and Spotify. Gentlemen, thanks so much for coming this morning.
Thank you
Always
very
a
much.
pleasure.
Really appreciate it.